9,186 Purple Hearts, you know. When you get killed or wounded in action, you get this. Over 9,000. Why 9,000 out of 3,000? Because of 300% turnover. That's how much casualty they suffered. 52 distinct service. This is the second highest, third highest. National averages. So every 15 DSC, you have one Medal of Honor. But look at the only one came out of 52.
Wow.
So that's why they reopened the record and try to find the facts. So Medal of Honor was downgraded to either this or this.
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of them American citizens, 1/3 aliens. We knew that some among them were potentially dangerous. Most were loyal, but no one knew what would happen among this concentrated population if Japanese forces should try to invade our shores. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move. This picture tells how the mass migration was accomplished. Neither the Army nor the War Relocation Authority relished the idea of taking men, women, and children from their homes, their shops, and their farms. So the military and civilian agencies alike determined to do the job as a democracy should, with real consideration for the people involved. Now they were taken to racetracks and fairgrounds where the Army almost overnight had built assembly centers. They lived here until new pioneer communities could be completed on federally owned lands in the interior. Santa Anita Racetrack, for example, suddenly became a community of about 17,000 persons. The Army provided housing and plenty of healthful, nourishing food for all.
They were in combat only for about 14 months. The number of medals and everything else, they were the highest awarded combat unit in the history of the U.S. Army. It's in the history book. I mean, this thing was kept as an official U.S. Army history. One of the 10 major battles when they went to save this Texas battalion. See, the Medal of Honor, that's the only one that came out of World War II. That's funny because years later, the governor of Hawaii reopened the record and examined the record. Some are recommended Medal of Honor was rejected or downgraded 1 or 2 levels below. Some were ignored. So in year 2000, 21 people, Japanese American, was awarded the Medal of Honor. But then at that time, most of them were dead already. I think he was the 6 or 7 still living at that time, year 2000. Now, I don't know, maybe two is still living, such as World War II RCT for regimental combat team. At any time or the other, the average is about 2,800 people was fighting, actual combat in one regiment. This information was never publicized. So the government, they want people to know what actually was going on in the Pacific. They were born here, but they look like the enemy.
Yeah.
So they have a small group of these people are attached to every unit in the South Pacific. Whether it's our own or Australia and New Zealand, British, they were assigned as intelligence. Well, it was never known until in the 70s. A lot of people in this MIS group deserve medal, but they were not given medal because I guess they didn't want to explain what they were doing. These people were sent into Burma and China, right here, behind enemy lines. Right here, India. CBI, they call that. CBI theater. They don't know what they went amphibious landing. They were in the first wave, landed all these islands. But this is where the war ended right here. You talk about nowadays, Afghanistan, one killed here, 4 killed here. Iwo Jima, something like 4,000 casualties one day. So Iwo Jima actually, there were about 20,000 Japanese defending Iwo Jima. And our group sent probably 40,000. So same number of casualties. Casualty approach 20,000 right here alone. Because there was only 20,000 Japanese here. So 99% of Japanese, 20,000 Japanese were killed in battle. U.S. Marines suffered about 20,000 casualties, maybe 8,000 dead, 12,000 wounded. People like us who's in that unit, you get shot in the back because they think you're the enemy. That's why they assign you a bodyguard, white guy. Well, of course, December 7, 1941, the war started. Before that, maybe about a month and a half before, maybe longer, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, president at that time, and his staff realized that they need people who speak Japanese language. So they started the Japanese language intelligence school in Presidio, San Francisco. This was before the war, mind you.